Good morning. So this morning it feels like the portals are just open. There's so much information coming through. And then I just looked at the date and it's 11:11. I don't know if the significance of that, but it's just kind of funny because this morning it has just been like the portals are open and everything is coming through. And I really wanted to talk about um, there's so many things I want to talk about, but I kind of want to separate the things that are coming through. So I want to talk about when you realize that you're channeling messages and what is channeling. Um, and I'll tell my own personal story on it. And that just in the recent year, I think I've really realized that what is coming through is it's coming through me. It's like being born from me. It's like messages that want to come from the ethers through me, and I am just like the connector or the portal or the door in between this realm and the higher realms. I feel like I'm kind of like a um, a go-between. And I want to tell about the history of this because, when I started going through my spiritual awakening, probably around from 2012, I think was when the initial, when initially it started. I all of a sudden in my own life, I had a business and I was married and I had 4 children and we had a moving company and I was an alcoholic. I was addicted to alcohol and I was very much in this. I was working hours on end. I was obese. Um, and I was in a marriage that wasn't right for me, and everything in my life was shaking like this. Everything was, it was so far stressed. You get to a point where it's like a breaking point. You get to like a rock bottom in your own life. um you know what and you get to a point of, it's like a breaking point. It's a point where okay, wait a minute, this isn't working. It's like a wake up point. It's like a wake up call in your own life. And so then I started the process of purifying myself. You start waking up, and then one thing leads to another thing, leads to another thing. That's why the spiritual awakening is irreversible. Once you get on this path, once you get far along, there's like a threshold. There's a threshold that once you pass this threshold, there is no going back. You can't go back to sleep once you awaken into your life and once you start down this spiritual journey. And as you go along, you're purifying yourself. And it's a constant and consistent process. It'll be forever. That is what this life journey is about. It's about expansion. It's about continuous and constant expansion. And so as we go along, we are purifying ourselves more and more and more. We're getting into more and more places that don't serve us, and correcting our thoughts. And as we purify ourselves, it's like we're ascending into these higher realms. And as we ascend, we're passing through the more dense vibrations, the more dense um, thought patterns. We're coming out of our ego and into this higher place where we can see everything more clearly. It's where we are connected back, because we are always connected. It's like bumper cars that are always connected to the electricity. Otherwise, they wouldn't have power to go anywhere, right? And so we're always connected. We're connected from within to this eternal mishmash of whatever this plane is. We are always connected. We have stardust inside of our bodies. Every single cell that is within us has been here since the beginning of this existence. It's eternal, and it will always be here. Whether the human species is here or not, every single cell in our body, every single DNA strand is going to remain here. It's just like the dinosaurs are within us. They might be extinct, but every single particle that was inside of their body is still here. And so we are constantly connected. And the more you purify yourself and get your own drudgery out of the way, your own dense thoughts, your own, oh, poor me, looking at me, and you start seeing the bigger picture, the more that connection becomes available to you, the more that connection becomes pure, and the more you can expand that connection to the extent of your being, and you can expand it, and then it's like the universe pours through you. This is what channeling is. It's bringing the information from the ethers, which is pouring through you in any case, through your instincts, through your mannerisms, through the way that you are, through the energy that flows through your body. You know, some people have very low energy, very low libido. Is that the word? Yeah. When they're in their very, very dense, the body doesn't even want to move. You lay on the couch for days. You know, your life force starts becoming feeble. And the more that you awaken on the spiritual awakening, the more you become alive, and the more your life force gains that connectivity. And so it's all about the connectivity. So and through meditation, you can expand your connectivity, and you can ground yourself also into this plane, into this 3D plane, which is where we live. It's the ultimate. You know, if you just go up and live in the ethers, and you don't, that is also not being a full extent of your being, because your being is also this physical, but it's also the ethers, but it's also the physical. So it's kind of like suspending yourself in between the two, um, suspending yourself in between, and finding that balance in between this physical plane and the higher, more spiritual connectivity to the all, to God, to the wonders, to the energy of the universe. And once you find that place that is pure in the center, you become like a hose. You become to where the energy goes back and forth. The flow is open. And so you create this cycle, you create this flow of energy. The energy comes through you, and you express it out into the world. And as you express it, you receive more, because every single expression that you create into the world is creating a reaction, which is bringing back energy to you. That's why if you shine out positive energy, you're getting positive energy back. It's the law of attraction. If you shine out abundance, the universe is going to reflect back abundance to you. It only makes sense, right? If I smile at somebody, typically, unless they're stuck somewhere in some kind of mindset, they're going to smile back at me, and it's going to create this round energy effect, this cycle of energy. And so the happier that I make myself, the higher my vibration, the higher vibration I get back from the universe around me. It's like a mirroring effect. Right? We talk about this all the time, but this only makes sense in the law of attraction and the law of creating your own reality. You create your reality through what you vibrate out. It only makes sense when you look at it in this way. So when you're connected, and you're when you're connected and you remove yourself and you allow this energy to flow through you, um, let me for a second reconnect. That is all that channeling is. It is purifying yourself. It's removing your egos, so that these messages, so that the divine intelligence, first of all, when you remove your own ego, it becomes evident to you in everything around you. You start seeing these cycles, and the universe speaks to you through every single possible aspect. It doesn't have to come and there be like like my twin said, like, if you have to, for your faith to be strong, you have to have an angel come and solidify in front of you, then you have very, very weak belief. But when you believe and when you understand how the universe works, the universe brings you signs through every single aspect, through the physical plane, through your mind, through something that somebody says. It speaks to you from all the directions all the time. It doesn't have to be some kind of big light that comes down from the sky and lingers in front of you, and then you hear the voice of God. When you hear the voice of God, it comes from within. When you hear these messages coming through, they come from within. They come from, and you learn to differentiate between what comes to you from the ethers, what is the message that comes through you or to you, than what your own thoughts are. There's a difference there. You can feel the difference. When it's your thoughts, you are processing it in yourself. You're asking questions, you're processing it. When you are speaking to the ethers, it comes in as a knowing. It feels just a little, there's a difference there. You can tell the difference. Divine intelligence has that divinity to it. And when it's coming from me, it's coming from the place of the ego. It is coming from a place of it's different, of contemplation. And so getting back to my own personal story and realizing that I was channeling what channeling feels like. And, once you realize it, then you can start. It's like any kind of talent. It's like any kind of, talent is channeling. It's a form of channeling. People that have artistic or musical or the gift for words or have a vivid imagination. It's all the same. It's all coming through channeling. And so as I was going through my spiritual, as I am still, but as I was going through my spiritual awakening, all of these epiphanies were coming to me. For years and years and years, I walked around with these notebooks and I would record things for myself and notebooks. I have piles and piles and piles of notebooks. I have bins of notebooks of messages that were coming through me. And the thing is that initially I thought it was me. Oh, look at this, what I'm thinking. Yeah, I thought, okay, this is all me. And I have to get these messages out. I'm going to write a book, and I have bins and bins and bins of all of these notebooks that are scribbled messages throughout them. And there was always this kind of pressure on me. Okay, I have these notebooks. I have to get the book out, but I'm still working on my work, but I have to get these books out. And then I started writing the books, and then it was constant pressure when I thought it was me. And at some point, so I'm going to start from the end and then go back to the beginning. I'm going to start from the end and then tell the conclusions. So at some point it got to where it was so mumbo jumbo in me. When you're writing things down and you have that constant pressure, okay, I need to put this into a book and I need to get it out to the world because these are important things for the world to hear. These are things that will help other people understand what they're going through as I'm going through it. And there was constant pressure in the back of my mind that I have to do something with it. And I was thinking that it was me, that it was mine, that it was my messages. It's a very egotistical, yeah. And but not only egotistical, it added so much pressure into my life because I had these things that I have to be doing, and I'm not doing them. They're in these notebooks, and I have to go through the notebooks, and so much pressure. And then at some point, the pressure got to be so much that it needed an outlet. It just needed to flow through. It's like eating a ton of food, and not going to the bathroom. You just keep on eating it and eating it and eating it. And at the end, you feel like you're so, it's like a clog in a drain. It's like the drain, it keeps on receiving, but it's not putting anything out. And what I realized also is that when you clog your drain, when you don't put out what's coming in starts becoming a trickle because there's no room anymore to receive the messages. You come in, and it's so frustrating because it doesn't have a release point, right? It's like it never gets to that release point. So it's like constantly receiving, and then it starts becoming a trickle. It starts slowing down if you don't have the release point. And at some point, when I started making these videos, and that's why I'm also encouraging anybody that feels this coming through them, it's finding an outlet for it, finding a way to give it to the world. Otherwise, you're sitting on it and it starts becoming frustrating. It could even start causing you to feel claustrophobic, even in a way. And so then I started at some point it got to be so much noise that I just had to put it out. So I opened up and I made a video about the twin flame journey. I think that was where I started on these videos, yeah, of just expressing myself freely. And it felt so good. It was like such a relief. And now I've noticed that I don't have that pressure anymore because I am allowing what is flowing through me just to flow. And when it comes to me and it comes and you know, sometimes it comes in parts, right? And when it comes and it forms, then I let it out. I sit down, I start a video, and I trust that what needs to come is going to come. I never know exactly what I'm going to talk about. I just know that I have this idea. Sometimes most of the time it forms while I'm talking about it. And so and so not only that, when you relieve the pressure of thinking that it's me, I know that it's not me. I know that it's coming through me. It is me because it's filtered through me, and it's put into the only I'm the only unique being that can express it in this way. So it is me because I am also part of everything. I'm part of the divinity. I'm not canceling my own self out in that way. But I understand that the messages that are coming through me, they're not mine. They're coming, well, they are mine, but yeah, I just said that, but they're coming through me. They're coming from a higher plane. The messages are, and I'm doing my very best to bring them out as purely as I can without interfering, without getting my own ego in there and altering, you know, trying to be as pure of a filter as I can be, because it has to come through a filter. It has to be put into words. That means you get these downloads, they are ideas. You get these downloads, they are understandings. They come in energetically. It's like an energy. And then you have to take it and articulate it into words, into language, which means you're taking something that is so vast, and each of us are given our own gifts to pass through us. Yeah, and we're each given the gifts that are rightfully exact for our beings, right? Because we're connected in different ways to the ethers, to different angels, to different aspects, to different energy fields. You can call it whatever you want to call it. Different parts of the ethers, different I don't know, life forces. We come from different planets. We have different DNA makeups. It doesn't matter what you call it. That's just words to put on it so that we can understand it. But the true understanding is understanding it energetically. You can see it all around you. You can see the life force in these different planes of existence. And when you connect to them, you bring the message through you. You will try to allow it to flow through you in the way that it is the purest form of how it's coming through without altering it. That's why in order to channel messages, you have to clear your ego. You have to purify yourself. That is why this spiritual awakening, you know, when that is why you only realize that you're channeling messages once you purify yourself, because you have purified yourself out of the way enough to not be egotistical and say, oh, it's me, give me credit, give me credit. It's exactly the opposite. You don't want the credit. You want it to flow through you because you understand that you are connected to something that's far more beautiful and vast, and just in being able to pass that on is a blessing, and I feel grace, and I feel like a kavodli. Kavodli. Kavodli means like I'm so honored. I'm honored. You know, it's like being chosen, and we're each chosen when we go through the process of purifying ourselves into righteousness. You know, righteousness, setting yourself right, getting the egotistical way of thinking out of the way. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with being egotistical. It's also part of, you know, keeping yourself alive and being able to even stand up and then take pride in it and call it what it is allowing yourself, your ego to thrive. And your ego is also part of it. I love my ego. My ego is my greatest tool given to me for this plane of existence. You get to a point where you love everything. There is nothing that you don't love. Even the pitfalls you love, because you realize that there are opportunities to transcend yourself. And so channeling is really being able to connect to the ethers and being able to bring those messages forth. And really, when you realize that what is coming through you is channeled, it lets you off the hook. It really frees you from, it also allows you to trust, because you trust that it's going to be there. It's not, it's, you don't have to make it happen. I don't have to make it happen. It happens on its own. I opened up the video. Look, we were already at 20 minutes. And I opened up the video. If I had to think, okay, how am I going to make a 20-minute video? What am I going to say to fill it up? It's that's the ego getting in there and thinking that it's me. When I realize that it's not me, it lets me off the hook. It lets me off the hook. It allows me to trust there is divine intelligence. There is divine guidance. There is divine timing. We are connected to divinity. We are divine. And when you understand that what's coming through you is not you, it's the ethers, it's the God force, it's the all, it's the energy field, it's the messages that are coming through, and that all my job is I am like a vessel. I am like a a messenger. I'm just the messenger, and it relieves me and my ego. It allows me to be small. It allows me also to overcome myself. What do I look like? What are people going to think? That has no relevance. It's not even something that really crosses my mind anymore. What are people going to think? The message is so much far more important, and I realize that the message needs to come through, and it's just coming through me. All I am is a vessel. All I am is the filter of the message. The way that the message can come through from there to get out to here, to get to you, to whoever needs the message. And we each are connected like this divinely, and we each are channeling through us different messages and have different talents. Talents is the way that the messages of the universe come through us, and through our expression. Wherever we are in expression is what is coming through us. And we can be connected to the negative fields and to like demonic forces, and then that's what's coming through us, and that's what we're spreading around, because there's so many different entities. You get to decide what you connect to, and this is something that's coming through new, or maybe in a new way. It's coming through energetically, that you can connect to, that if you don't purify yourself and you are in your ego, then you have like cracks that are left open within your being, within your self being. And within these cracks is where demonic lower vibrational, you could call it lower vibrational fields, you could call it negative vibrational fields, you could call it gray matter, you could call it dark forces, you could call it the devil, you could call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter what you call it. I think that religion kind of took over all of this, and a lot of things that have to do with religion are stuck in people's like perspectives. But if you remove religion from it and you look at it from a pure spiritual manner, we have electricity flowing through us. What is this electricity? What is the life force? It's there. You know that it's there. Now you can't see it, you can't grasp it. The minute you try to grasp it, it's like water. It's like trying to grasp water. It's just like Wayne Dyer once said, you know that you have thoughts. You can't see your thoughts. You know that you have thoughts, and and when you cut open a mind, a brain, you don't see the thoughts in there. So where are the thoughts? Right? So you know that these things are in existence. You can also feel them within. When you hear truth, you recognize truth. When you know something, even if you've never heard it before, when you hear truth, you recognize it because inside of you, you know you are connected. You are a higher being. And so those are my thoughts. So that is what I have to say this morning. I have to say that's what's coming through regarding channeling. I kind of felt like this was something that was coming through as a whole. It's kind of like a download, and so it's meant to be passed on because each of us now during these times, especially during these times, these are energetic times that everything is shaking, and during these times it is these powerful, 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 intense times. All of us are called on to bring our purest self forth. And we know this because when we're not bringing our purest self forth, we are shaking. We're shaking. There's something in there that is not settled. And in order to settle it, we have to be doing our divine work, which our divine work is a lot like, for instance, with me, I'm walking around for years writing in notebooks. I have to do something. I have to do the pressure, pressure, pressure. The minute I found the outlet, the minute I found the way to express it to the world, that pressure is off. I still have all those notebooks that I'm going to go through. And if I find any messages in there that need to come out, I'll just make a quick video on them. I found my output, and maybe I'll put it into a book at some point. We'll see. But I also find that once you are in the place that you are meant to be, providence just shows up in your life from unexpected, unbelievable places. It's like all of a sudden you are provided for because you are doing what you are meant to be doing. And once you are doing what you are meant to be doing, then you are doing it the best that you can do it. And there is a need for it in the world. Otherwise, it wouldn't exist. So once you start getting the noise out of the way, you are naturally drawn to what you are naturally supposed to be doing. It just works like that. You can see it when you understand it, you can see it so clearly. When you get into the place that you need to be, the universe comes in around you and holds you up. There is a need for whatever gift you have to give. And when you are not giving your gift, it's like you are taking it away from the universe and from all of the people that need that gift in order to excel and continue on their own path. So that is the message that's coming through about channeling. What is channeling? How to channel? Um, Getting off the hook, releasing yourself, because when you understand that when you're channeling, it's not you, it's coming through you, and then that allows you to trust, because I can open up a video and I know that whatever is supposed to divinely come through me is going to come through me. I don't have to make it happen. So you can kind of remove yourself. Thinking that it's me is very egotistical. It's in the ego. So just summing all that up. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Sending you guys so much love. If you like the video, like it and subscribe. It helps me get to more people. It helps more exposure, and that is what I am doing here, exposure. So thank you.